All right, so we're back here working on this is a 2011 Summit. And so basically what we're doing here, I already did this to my 2009, is we're just trying to make them a little bit better mountain sleds. So I've cut out all of the running boards sections that I want out of there. So that's going to hold a lot less snow than the factory ones. Now we've got the tunnel shortening mod happening here. So we took off the heat exchanger. Not really that big a deal. The most difficult part by far is drilling out the stainless steel rivets that they have in it. Man, I burned out some drill bits, but that's probably the most difficult part about pulling it out. Took it into a shop, got it shortened. Looks like we shortened it about, I think it's about 8 inches we cut off, which arguably might be a little too much. I don't know. This is a 154. So we'll see. I have a 163 that's outside, and I thought I might just pull this heat exchanger out on the 154, put it in the 153, and then I'd only have one to cut. But it's only about, I think, 4 inches shorter. So that was not going to be enough. So we're going a little bit more, and hopefully that's going to pan out. We're going to redo the bumper. Don't really like the stock bumper, so we're going to redo that. I'm going to get that drawn up and get that welded up out of some aluminum. And then, of course, the other problem with these snowmobiles is the footwells are not very accessible. You get your foot way up inside here. So the other one, I've already done this mod, but I'll make a video of this one so that everybody can see what's going on. This one, you cut it right about there. And I'm going to have to get it in and get it welded a little bit too, but I wish I had an aluminum welder or even the ability to weld aluminum, but I don't. So it wasn't expensive to get the heat exchangers welded. That was about, I want to say it was 100. They charged me an hour, I think, for each one, 120 bucks a piece, something like that, which is super cheap. In order to buy one, I was looking for a 146 for this snowmobile, and I did find one, and just under 500 bucks. So I think it's a much better option to just take it in and get it welded. It doesn't necessarily look so nice. I probably, if I was to do it again, I would have cut the section out of under the seat, and then you wouldn't even see that. But we're going to get a Milwaukee Packout base plate to mount onto that, over top of that, so that won't be seen anyways. And then, I don't know about I've been reading about the post-forward mod that some guys are doing. Not sure if that's worth it or if I want to do that. I'm going to get them out after Christmas here. I want to get them out. Me and my son will take a trip to Revy and test them out and see what we think. And yeah, we'll see what happens. So basically I just have that set where I want it. Got some lines marked up. I'm just going to kind of follow this angle here. Cut that off. And I'll be back in a minute. So it's kind of difficult to do with one hand while I'm filming, but the tool I find the best for cutting this out, I think you could use a jigsaw with a metal blade and it would work fine. Just a metal blade and a Sawzall. These little Sawzalls, they seem to work pretty good. So yeah, I'll be right back. Here we are after the cut. Everything came out pretty good. This would be the factory kind of tail section piece that holds your snow flap on there. So we're just going to kind of fit that back in there. These corners here, I'm just going to cut them off. I don't know, some sort of angle like that. And then that'll work out pretty good, I think. My advice to anybody that's got one of these sleds that's even thinking about doing any of these mods, just start cutting. Like, honestly, you can't really I mean, I guess you could mess it up, but just don't be intimidated by it. Just start hacking away and see what happens. That's literally all I did here at the front. You just start taking the Sawzall to it, and then that's once you're into it, then you got to finish it, and it's not that big a deal. It's actually a really easy process. Something like that. I mean, none of this is really going to ever be seen anyways once the bumper comes across here. So, I mean, don't get too concerned about it. I might try to clean up this corner right here so this thing fits a little bit better in there. But, I mean, don't overthink it. Trust your instincts. Here's a problem that I came into quite a bit on this because of the fact that you're drilling out these stainless steel rivets. And they're not, I should have took some pictures of them before. Oh, they're like these, right? So they're not a pop rivet. So kind of hard to get your drill bit. Oh, that's perfect timing, air compressor. Thank you. Not sure if you can still hear, but yeah, so it's hard to get your drill bit centered, and it kind of wants to walk off the side, and then you end up with this, where your 3/16 pop rivet isn't going to hold. So all you have to do is get a washer, get a 3/16 washer, get them at any hardware store, and it just has to go on the back side, and then it gives it something to hold on to. This little tool here makes life a whole lot easier. I just have one that connects to my air compressor. You can get all different kinds of them. Cordless. I know for sure Milwaukee makes a cordless one. I don't know about anybody else, but that makes life so much easier, especially when you're dealing with stainless steel rivets. Aluminum ones aren't bad to hand crank, but when you've got, I don't know how many rivets you have to put in, this, I think it's worth the price you pay for them. These things, these little air ones can't be much money anymore. They got to be pretty cheap. So pretty much that's what you're going to see here. If you're looking for brand new stuff, you're not in the right spot. Old junk that we try to make a little bit better, that's where we're at here. Got some other projects coming up in hopefully the near future. Electric dirt bike. A build your own electric dirt bike. I have seen a guy on YouTube do it, and that definitely has piqued my interest. So that's hopefully going to come up. The most difficult part about that seems to be finding a donor bike. Just finding a bike with a blown motor that somebody wants to get rid of, because everybody seems to be buying them up. Well, not everybody, but there's a few places that buy them up, and then they part them out, strip them down, part them up. And if you want to get everything except the motor, way more expensive. So I'll have to I'll keep looking. I'll find one eventually here. So we're going to leave that for now and go work on the footwells, because I don't want to rivet these in just yet, because the bumper that I've designed is going to come, it's going to come right through there. So I'll just rivet that all together at the same time. Same thing on the other side. The other thing I'll do here as well, you'll see why in a bit, but I'm going to cut this off here. Where's my pencil? I can just draw a picture of it. Well, lost that. Oh, there it is. Yeah, so this is going to get cut about like, I don't know, something like that. And then here, and then there. And I'm not worried about making this tunnel a little bit weaker because of the bumper that I'm going to get put on there. It should be plenty strong. So same tool we're going to use. Good old handy Sawzall. So just make sure that you're aware underneath we've got this brace here for this whatever wheel, bogey wheel, part of your suspension. So we're just going to want to not cut into that. So we're just going to come straight there, up over the top, and down. Let's give this a go one-handed, see what happens. All right, now save this piece. Don't throw that away. Now here, we do have to worry about that lug, which is right there. Okay, once you start seeing black rubber coming up, then you know you're against the lug. I don't know if I can just turn this thing a little. Oh yeah, I think we're good now. All right, so that's really very not straight, which don't worry about that. I'm just going to touch that up with a hand file. That'll look nice. Touch these edges up here a little bit. Whatever you want. I think I'm just going to leave that open for now. Might consider plugging that with something at some point. I cannot imagine that any amount of snow that gets in there is going to be a problem for anything. Okay, here's what that looks like. Just your run-of-the-mill file. Touch that up a little bit. This edge here won't be seen. This will. So you could hit it up with a wire wheel, brass wire wheel maybe on an angle grinder or on a drill or something. That would probably make that look a little bit nicer, but I'm not too worried about that. So now we are going to move up to the footwell and get this process done. You will want to roll the sled up on its edge and brace it, maybe right to the old Ford running board. That might be a good thing. We'll give that a go. That might be a bit of a problem. I might put a bolt back through there just to keep that in place. And then I'll flip it up and then I'll show you how I do. So I'd say that worked out perfectly. You just brace it to whatever you have nearby. Not a big deal. And here we have to, on the other side, other sled, I drilled out these rivets here just to give myself a little bit of room. This gets cut back maybe about here somewhere, but once we have all that in place, then we can kind of, so you're back to drilling out rivets. Make sure you save these, the heads of these rivets, keep them, and then you can use them as washers to put back on, so you don't have to go to Skidoo and pay like $4 a rivet. There is a little Torx head bolt-ish thing that sits right there, and then I'm going to be drilling out these 4 rivets, and then that one will get drilled out from the underside. Okay, we got these ones. This one, I don't know what this little guy's deal is, but it's really hard to drill through, so I think I just drilled the top out, and I'll try to... This would definitely be easier to do before you flip this snowmobile on its side. Remember that now. So now you got to do this one. Oh yeah, they always spin, so you need to pretty much almost every one of them. You'll end up just grabbing. That's working well. Grabbing the other side with a pair of vice grips. Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, those are out. I tried to leave this one in. I thought maybe it would be nicer if I didn't have to do that one. That one kind of is hard to get vice grips on the inside when it spins, but it just didn't really give me enough room. So now you just kind of bend that out of the way. Yeah, something like that. And then with this part, should have a marker for this, but I don't right now. I just basically hacked it off right there. So I don't really have to be that precise, I don't think. Something like that. And you just go for it. There you go. Open footwell. So what I did on the other one, I just cleaned this piece up here. Thanks, air compressor. Cut that off, just sort of smoothed it out a little bit, that was all. And then I actually used this piece on the other side. So this piece will kind of sit like this, and then gets riveted in the bottom. And I'm just going to take it in and get them to weld that up on the top, and I think that'll work. So I'll show you that in a second here. Oh, and then this little guy. So the big problem here would be is if the rails went a little bit farther, you'd have no problems. You could easily, oops, try to get my videoing a little better. Not good at this, apparently. If this rail extended out all the way to here, this process would be a whole lot easier. But essentially what I do, oh, I got to take actually the other side. The other side of this piece just basically sits, oh no, it is this side. I cut it down. Yeah, basically sits like that. And I have an aluminum piece that I put in, just a round dowel. You can get it anywhere. I'm not sure what size this is, but probably like 1/4 inch or 5/16. You just slide it in here a little bit and there just to give it a little bit added extra stability. And then once that other piece comes down, rivets underneath this. And I think once you get it welded up, I don't think we should have any problems. So this time we're just resting on the old skid steer tire. Works perfectly. And we got this side all drilled out and loose. And yeah, notice that this is all busted up. No idea really what that does. So yeah, I'm not going to fix it. I can just stay like that. Okay, so this is out of the way. Looks like we got some, maybe that's the same time it hit that. Got some bending. We'll bend that back. And then this side again, wherever my pencil went. This side again, you want to be really precise when you cut it. Cut there. We call that perfect. And I'll find the other side. and just kind of set it in there and show how that's going to work. So here, yeah, so it's going to end up like kind of, no, let's get, I mean, we're going to have to deal with that. But basically, yeah, it's going to end up, you trim this down so it matches up with that. And then it ends up basically like that, which I think is going to be almost perfect for room inside this football once we clean this off. I'm just going to cut this off with that thing. Just put it in the vise and just kind of cut through these welds and then shine it up a little bit with the old flap disc. And it should work out good. So here's kind of what they look like after I'm done just sawzalling them off. Not real clean, but they will. We'll shine them up a bit. Went ahead and cut this side back, same as the other side, so no need to redo that. So now this piece here, which came right back there, there's a little notch in there, and that fits right there. So I'm just going to make a mark here, cut it off, and slide it in there. That is, of course, once you get this piece situated to where you want. So I just hit it up with some vice grips. That's about where I want it. I'm just going to get it held up right there, and then we'll get that welded up. I think that's going to be plenty strong. I'm not super concerned about that. If not, we could always get some extra bracing put in there somehow. I don't know. Anyway, but we'll get that welded up. Get this put in, this bar right here. Don't know how thick it is, but slides in there. Get it at Home Depot. I don't know, wherever they're sold. So we'll cut that up and I'll be right back. Here's this piece, kind of installed. It doesn't line up perfectly. You definitely could make this a little bit nicer by just shaving down a little bit of that inside there. You could probably get that to line up pretty well dead on straight. But I don't really give a crap about that. So then we pull this piece off. And you get your, hopefully have more of this, because I actually put it in a ways. So what I did was this. I made it so it kind of tried to make that bend in there. Like that. And then just bend it. So it ends up looking kind of like that. And then at this point, it's just sort of trial and error. You might have to get a lacquer out. And I mean, I don't know. What do you want? This is an old junker of a sled. We're just trying to make it perform a little better. We're not trying to make a showpiece here. So then that, couldn't tell you if that piece is 100% necessary inside or not. Kind of feels like it just keeps it lined up a little bit better. So now I'm going to get this piece back on there. Kind of like that, I guess. But we had it. It's a little tweaking, I think. I considered cutting this out, the inside. I don't know if that's going to hold up enough snow where that's going to be annoying, but you definitely could cut that out because it's not going to ever be riveted to anything. So, yeah, it's definitely something that could happen there. Now here's the part I'm not 100% sure of if this is necessary. I kind of feel like it is. So we got this. It's just aluminum square, 3/4 by 3/4. You just, I don't know, you get that stuff anywhere as well. And I just cut some 45s on the end of it. And this is going to sit right over top these rivets, just so we have a little more strength. Kind of try to make this as one piece as possible. If you got your welder to put a bead on there, which I might get him to do, that might help out as well. But I think this, I don't foresee it being a big problem. These running boards are so wide as it is. I don't think it's going to cause problems with boots. I might put some sheet metal screws in the top of them just to give it a little more grip so it's not slippery. They sit about the same height as the nubs here, a little bit lower maybe, so I think that's going to be okay. And if it's not, then I'll, after the first ride or two, I'll come up with a different solution for that.